Welcome to the deep dive. We take complex digital challenges and, well, break them down into insights you can actually use. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a really big one in cybersecurity. Just dealing with the sheer amount of network security data. It's overwhelming, right? How do you even find those critical needles in that huge digital haystack, especially when threats are, constantly changing? So our focus today is FortiAnalyzer 7.4. It's a serious powerhouse for network security. But we're not just looking at the shiny features. We're coming at it from a super practical angle, the FortiAnalyzer Administrator Certification Exam. Think of this as like your shortcut to really getting how this platform helps security teams stay ahead. Our mission, simple. We're unpacking key functions, key insights straight from the FCP FAZ-AD 7.4 exam questions. We're pulling out those crucial bits of knowledge so you can quickly understand the core capabilities and how they actually work in the real world. And just so you know, that exam, it's 35 multiple choice questions, 65 minutes, English, Japanese, and French versions available.
By the end of this, you'll really see FortiAnalyzer's practical side, from hunting threats proactively to automating responses, all about making log management easier and more effective.
Exactly. And it's not just about exam prep, is it? It's really about understanding how FortiAnalyzer works day to day. We want to show you how these features really build up a stronger, more responsive security posture for, well, pretty much any organization.
Okay, so faced with this flood of data, this constant pressure, where do we start? How does FortiAnalyzer help us find those hidden threats before they cause damage?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's really where the threat hunting feature comes in strong. Most security tools, they react. An alarm goes off, you investigate, standard stuff. But threat hunting in FortiAnalyzer is different. It gives analysts these advanced search tools so they can proactively hunt for weird behavior, suspicious activity, things that might be hidden deep in the logs and events. It's not static reports. It's real-time investigation. You can use predefined queries or build your own custom ones.
So it really shifts the focus. Instead of just reacting, the analyst becomes more like a detective, actively searching.
That's fascinating. It moves security beyond just putting out fires, right? You're actually looking for trouble before it finds you. Precisely. Proactive investigation.
Okay, that sounds powerful. But say you do find something using threat hunting. What happens next? How fast can FortiAnalyzer actually act on that?
Right, and speed is critical. That brings us straight to the security fabric integration, specifically using fabric connectors. You have to see the bigger picture here. FortiAnalyzer isn't meant to be isolated. It's a core part of the Fortinet security fabric. Think of the fabric as this interconnected ecosystem. All your Fortinet gear firewalls, APs, switches, they talk to each other. They share intelligence in real time.
Okay, so it's not just devices sitting next to each other.
Not at all. They cooperate. And fabric connectors are key to that. They let FortiAnalyzer share what it finds with the rest of the fabric. So here's a concrete example. FortiAnalyzer spots a compromised host, maybe through threat hunting, maybe an alert. It can automatically tell a FortiGate firewall, hey, quarantine that endpoint now.
Wow, okay, so it triggers an immediate response.
Exactly. It enables much faster, automated threat response, way beyond just, sending an email alert.
That's the power of that integration you mentioned, a truly unified system. And speaking of automated responses, besides quarantine, what are some other common actions? Like, what do these automated event handlers typically do?
Yeah, so automated event handlers are basically rules. You set them up to define what happens when FortiAnalyzer sees certain log patterns or conditions. While quarantine is a powerful fabric action, maybe the most common fundamental action is simpler. Often it's configured to just send an email alert straight to the security team.
Okay, so a direct heads up.
Right. It ensures the right people know about critical events quickly without someone having to stare at logs constantly. Prompt notification.
Makes sense. Get the info to the right people or the right devices fast. But security ops today, it's more than just detect and respond, isn't it? It's about streamlining the whole process. So what about SOR? Security orchestration, automation, and response. How does that fit in? How does FortiAnalyzer help streamline operations?
Well, that raises a really important point for many organizations. How do you get the benefits of SOA without investing in a whole separate dedicated hardware appliance? Because traditionally, that's what you needed.
Right, another box, more cost, more management.
Exactly. But the FortiSOAR management extension changes that. It's actually a management extension that runs as a Docker container on the FortiAnalyzer itself.
Oh, interesting. So it's integrated.
Fully integrated. It gives you orchestration capabilities, automated playbooks, all those SR benefits right there on FortiAnalyzer. No separate box required.
That sounds like a huge advantage, especially for, say, smaller teams or places with tighter budgets.
It really is. It makes sophisticated SR much more accessible. It can fundamentally change how smaller SOCs operate.
Okay, very cool. Now, thinking about managing complexity, especially for larger places or like managed security service providers,
Yeah.
just collecting logs isn't enough. You need to keep things separate, right?
Absolutely critical. And that's where administrative domains, or ADOMs, come into play.
ADOMs, what's their main purpose?
Simple. Separation. They let you separate and manage devices and their logs from different customers or maybe different internal departments.
Oh, multi-tenancy?
Exactly. Super useful for MSSPs who need total isolation between clients. Or in big companies where, finance logs need to be separate from HR logs, for example. For an admin, understanding ADOMs is fundamental if you're managing different groups. Data segregation, control. It's all handled by ADOMs.
Crucial for compliance too, I bet,
Yeah.
and just keeping things organized.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, staying on intelligence, there's something called the Outbreak Detection Service. Sounds important. What is it, and is it worth it?
It is important. It's a subscription-based service, so yes, it requires an extra license.
Okay, subscription, what's the payoff?
The key benefit is that it automatically downloads new event handlers and reports specifically for emerging widespread threats outbreaks. So when a big new vulnerability hits or a major attack campaign starts.
Like Log4j or something similar.
Exactly like that. This service pushes updated detection rules and relevant reports straight to your FortiAnalyzer. It ensures your detection capabilities are current with the very latest threat intelligence without you needing to manually configure everything or wait for a full firmware update.
So it's like getting real-time threat intel updates pushed directly to the analyzer. Kind of like automatic digital flu shots for your network security.
That's a good way to put it. Keeps you protected against the latest threats automatically.
Fantastic. Now, all this logging, analyzing, correlating,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds resource intensive. How does FortiAnalyzer handle performance, especially when generating reports from potentially huge data sets?
Yeah, performance is definitely key. You can't wait forever for insights. That's where report acceleration with auto-cache is vital. When you enable auto-cache for a FortiAnalyzer report, a couple of really important things happen. First, the system builds what's called a hard cache, and this cache is automatically updated whenever new logs come in, so the cached data stays fresh.
Okay, so it pre-processes the data.
Sort of, yeah. It pre-computes key data points needed for reports. And second, the big benefit, report generation time plummets. It uses that cached data instead of having to, crunch through all the raw logs every single time you run the report.
Ah, so it's using the pre-computed answers much faster.
Much, much faster. It makes reports feel almost instantaneous, even with large amounts of data. It's like having a super fast answer sheet ready to go.
That's a huge usability win. Nobody wants to wait minutes for a report. But what if things aren't fast? What if something seems wrong with log processing or the database? What tools does an admin have?
Good question. For SQL diagnostics and log processing, there are a couple of essential command line interface, or CLI, commands you need to know. The first one is diagnose SQL status.
Diagnose SQL status.
You use that to check the overall health of the SQL database itself. Is it running okay? And critically, it lets you monitor the log insertion process. Are logs getting into the database efficiently?
So that's for general database health and log flow.
Exactly. It helps you troubleshoot if logs aren't being processed as quickly as they should be.
And you mentioned a couple of commands. What's the other key one, especially if reports are slow despite caching?
Right. If reports are sluggish, you'll want to look at diagnose SQL status, SQL plugin.
It's the SQL plugin at the end. Got it.
Yeah. This command gives you specific info about the SQL plugin daemon, which is called SQL plugin. And importantly, it includes details about the Hcache size. Remember that cache we talked about for reports? Hcache is part of that special caching system FortiAnalyzer uses to speed up reports and queries.
So this command lets you peek under the hood at that cache.
Precisely. For an admin, knowing about SQL plugin and checking Hcache status isn't just trivia. If reports are slow, this command is often your first step to diagnose if the caches may be undersized or having issues. It's all about query optimization.
Okay, so if dashboards or reports are crawling, those two diagnose SQL commands are your main tools for figuring out why. Makes sense. One last area, getting logs off FortiAnalyzer, maybe to archive them or send them somewhere else. Let's talk about log fetching or remote retrieval. What do we need to keep in mind there?
Right, log fetching. A couple of key things to consider. First, you don't have to pull everything. You can use filters, fetch only logs from one specific device, or only for a certain time range.
Be selective.
Yeah, it makes it much more targeted and efficient. Avoids pulling down gigabytes of logs you don't actually need.
Good tip. What else?
Second, and this is critical for security, the user account you use for fetching, defined in the fetching profile, must have the super user profile assigned.
Super user permissions needed? Why?
Because the fetch client, the thing requesting the logs, needs broad permissions to actually access and retrieve that log data securely. It's a control measure. So if you're setting up log fetching and it's not working, checking those user permissions is absolutely one of the first things you should do.
Got it. Targeted retrieval and proper permissions. Very important.
With data growing exponentially and cyber threats getting smarter all the time, how might the evolution of these automated analytics and orchestration platforms like FortiAnalyzer actually reshape what we even mean by network security in the next, say, 5 or 10 years? Could security become almost entirely self-healing? Something to think about. We'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.